Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being on time and thank you for joining us this afternoon. As we wait for the rest of today's attendees to join us, please enjoy the music and we'll start in about 5 to 10 minutes. While you're waiting, we're actually going to do up a poll. So the poll question is actually, how many tricks or commands have your dog mastered? So do help us to answer this poll. So later we'll share the results with you guys. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, thanks for joining us this afternoon. So let me introduce your host for today, and his name is Kai from Workwell. Kai, the mic is yours.
Hi everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Leslie. My name is Kai from Workwell. We are a personalized workplace wellness strategist consultant focused on helping you keep your employees happy and healthy. We also like to thank Jasco for being our partner for today's webinar. Jasco is currently Singapore's leading co-working space provider with more than 40 centers across 8 cities in Asia Pacific, including presence in Indonesia, Thailand, and China, to name a few. So to know more about Jasco, you may check out their website and social media page. So as many of you know, this is the second session of our 3-part webinar series on dog behavior and training. And on behalf of my team from Workwell, to all the returning attendees from the first session, we really appreciate you joining us again. This time with many more new attendees in the crowd. And if you're joining us for the first time, just like to actually give you a big shout out. Thank you for taking time to join us today. We really appreciate you being here. So yeah, we are really excited for Ethan to come on shortly, but just to quickly lay out the outline for our webinar today, Ethan will be delivering his sharing with live demo for the first part of the webinar, and then followed by a Q&A session where you may engage with him on specific questions that you may actually have about your pet dog. So if you all see at the bottom, there is actually a Q&A button. Please feel free to type in any questions that you actually have in the section, and then we'll go through them later. And also, again, like what Leslie actually mentioned a little bit earlier, there is actually a poll going on asking about your dog's command mastery level. So please take a second to poll, and Ethan will actually address it at the beginning of his session. And in case you like to actually revisit today's webinar, don't worry. The webinar is actually currently recorded and will be uploaded to our page so that you can actually check it out after today. All right. Also, lastly, before we bring on Ethan, we just like to actually, just like the first session, right? We also have a live participant. She is none other than our director from Workwell, Kimi, who's here today with a Puchon Taco. Hi, Kimi.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks everyone for coming up. Taco is currently having his afternoon nap. Maybe he'll come on a bit later.
All right.
So yeah, you can actually see Taco's picture actually. Yep.
Cool. So without further ado, everyone, please join me along with your pets to welcome Ethan. Take it away, man.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
The host needs to enable my video.
Hold on, we just
okay,
cool. We can see you now.
Hi. Afternoon nap.
Yeah.
I think it's almost gonna be the same. My dog might not be able to do a very perfect demo because it's also the time of the afternoon. So welcome everybody. I decided to, contrary to what I said in the first session, I think this session is better to be held in my home, right? It's a bit more intimate and also a bit more realistic because then you have the furniture around and stuff. Obviously, for the purpose of this Zoom session, this webinar, I've cleared up some of the clutter that I have. So without much further ado, I want to first give you guys a recap of the last session. Just simply put, the main thing that we touched on was that COVID-19, or rather the circuit breaker as a result of the pandemic situation, has affected our dogs in a way whereby some of our dogs might have gone into boredom states. They might have gone into frustrated states. Some are also experiencing the effects of social distancing, which is the lack of social interaction, which can also be confusing to your dog because every time you change the structure for your dog, it might result in minor psychological changes, or it could become major behavioral problems. Like, for example, if your dog is very frustrated, bored, or has a lot of excess mental energy. But there are also some owners who have, from the start, not even practice a lot of structure and rule-based lifestyles with your dog, which, in any case, you're going to have a lot of behavioral problems to begin with, which I hope to be able to address. But of course, having this COVID-19 as our theme, I would like to play around with the fact that right now you guys are working from home. So why not take the chance to also train from home? So when I talk about frustration and boredom, for example, right? a lot of it has been about the lack of mental or draining of mental energy. Because you guys, I'm sure most of you are still taking your dogs out for a walk. So you're still expending the physical energy for your dog. But when it comes to frustration, boredom, psychological behavior problems, like for example, separation anxiety or destruction, or just being a little bit more fearful or insecure at home when you have guests over, that kind of stuff, it's got a lot to do with the mental energy. So like all living things, right? There's the body, the mind, and the heart. I tell my clients, I don't need to teach my clients how to love your dog, which is to fulfill the heart, right? Because the only reason why you have a dog is because you love your dog and you want to have a companion, and I don't need to teach you any of that. Affection, no need to teach, right? But body and mind, whether the dog is being fulfilled in those areas, I have to teach people how to walk their dog sometimes. I have to teach them how often to walk the dog, right? That we obviously, I would love it if we can have an outdoor session, but that's more of the outdoor things that you can do with your dog. Now that you're working from home, you can focus on the mind. So body, mind, heart, right? Heart, no need to teach. Body, exercise your dog. Mind, heart, wow, how do you actually drain mental energy, or how do you fulfill the mind, right? How do you keep your dog mentally stimulated? Like for example, old people, you tell them to play mahjong, right? At least they are thinking, they're doing something. And I've met quite a few senior citizens that love to work even though they don't need to, right? Because they just want to keep their minds active. And that's a concept that I would like to bring into our dogs, right? Because to begin with, the human life is really boring for dogs. Think about it, right? Like I talk about humans living from box to box, the home is a box, the car is a box, the office is a box. That's boring. And if your dog is also confined mainly to the four walls of your home, then yeah, it is going to be quite a boring place as well, plus the lifestyle that we have. So for me, I break it down to when you want to drain or challenge your dog mentally, right? There are two things that you need to look at, right? The first one is house rules. And the second one is on tricks, right? But a lot of people focus on the tricks and the commands, thinking that, okay, that's the way I educate my dog. That's the way that my dog can do stuff, which is why I started off with the first question, because that's probably very easy for all of you to answer. Can I have the results? Okay, so a number of you actually, okay, sorry. Firstly, the first thing that caught my attention was that a handful of you know that your dogs know a few tricks and commands, right? One person actually did more than 10, and one person actually says, yeah, the dog understands him or her like as if the dog understands English and everything that they say. But I laughed because I saw that a few of you picked the option that my dog never listens to anything. So which means, right, you've not tapped into the most fulfilling part, I feel, of a dog's relationship with you. Because having a dog understand you, having a dog listen to you is one of the most it's almost surreal that another species is connecting with you or connected to you in that way. So I talk about two things, right? House rules and tricks and commands. So a lot of people, yes, I'm sure even though the person picked, doesn't know any tricks, right? Kimi, which one do you pick?
Handful.
Handful, yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people, at least the dogs know a handful of commands. Hi, you wake up already.
Hi.
So, Kimi, why don't you share with me what are the tricks? You said a handful. What are the tricks that some of the tricks that your dog knows?
Sit, paw, other paw, nose, and down.
Okay.
And stay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more than a handful already. Good. Yeah. So, but do you understand what's the difference between commands? Yeah, you show me one. Nose. Yeah. You have to mark it. You have to mark the behavior. Once the nose goes into quick tip, right? Once the snout goes there, you have to give a mark.
Yay!
Yeah, like your yay or your good, right? Because you're positively reinforcing that. So, do you know the difference between commands and tricks? Which you've showed one, and with the difference between that and house rules?
Not too sure. House rules.
Or rules in
Have,
general.
have. I managed to stop, but he was still trying to challenge occasionally. So I make it a point that he should never go up to the coffee table.
Okay, so yes, that is a house rule.
But okay, I'm not too sure whether I'm doing the correct way. It means every time he goes up, I will have a stern voice, and I will have like a very like low and stern voice and say nope, and I'll actually carry him down. So yeah.
Okay, you carry him down, but you can always move him away. Teach him to move away on his own instead of carrying, because you do the work for him. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to help you better understand, like some people, I ask them, how many house rules do you have? They ask me, why do I need house rules when my dog knows tricks and my dog knows commands? There is the difference. So for house rules, right? Let me start with things that you guys know very well. Tricks and commands. Now, tricks and commands, they provide fun. The one thing that they provide is fun. All right. The next thing that they do is they relieve boredom. Right? Because your dog has to think, right? And when your dog has to think, it encourages what? Problem solving. So your dog's trying to solve problems, even if it is as simple as trying to get food that has fallen under the carpet. That's also a problem solving. That's also one of your dog's tricks. Yeah. So that one provides fun and it relieves boredom. Now, when I talk about that, one helps you to relieve a dog from boredom, which is one of the things that dogs might experience during CB, right? But what about the other one where dogs are frustrated? Now, that's where your house rules come in, because house rules provide structure.
Okay.
Like you said, right? No jumping on the coffee table. If I were to run you guys through from my door all the way down to my foyer to my living room, I can name probably about 100 rules already. Right? Wow. Depending on which situation. I'll give you some examples later, okay? But yeah, for house rules, it also teaches your dogs how to deal with how to deal with boredom. It doesn't relieve boredom, but how to deal with boredom, how to deal with frustration, and it teaches values like patience and impulse control. So it's not a relief. This one, you're actually going to the root of the problem. If you have taught your dog how to behave when he's alone, then you don't need to provide fun activities when he's alone for him, because he knows how to, for example, calm himself down or be independent when he's alone. Wow. Dogs who don't know how to do that, right? And you end up thinking of ways to entertain your dogs, you're using the fun and the relief boredom part. So it's almost like Chinese medicine versus Western medicine.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of us probably will have in mind, which I think you're probably going to cover, but it's more of that, the differentiation, because when you do tricks, you kind of reward. So is it like, when you're doing tricks, you reward, but when you set house rule, you change your tonality to let your dog understand that certain things and stuff. I'm not sure. Is that how you...
it's almost like that. Actually, both we also reward. But the reward for the house rules, right, is quite subtle. And usually when your dog is performing the house rule, your dog is in a good behavior, right? There's no big reward for them. For example, does your housemate or your parents reward you for flushing the toilet after you pee? They don't, right? Because it's an understood rule. Yeah. But those kind of, like, if you have house rules and you have dogs that understand house rules, then you have a well-behaved dog. Yeah. But if you have like a dog that does a lot of commands and tricks, then you have a dog who people label as smart. Yeah. So if you are focused on, okay, my dog is smart, but he's not really listening to me. If your complaints are coming from that spectrum, not listening to me, ignoring me, he tests my boundaries, my limits, then your focus should be on house rules. But if
Okay.
your dog is low energy at home, don't want to do anything. And but you know, is bad at like learning stuff, or gets all the time you see him, he's always like that, right?
Okay.
Then you should be looking at more tricks and commands.
Okay.
You understand? So let me just run you through like from the door itself. So from my door, the main house rule is that when I open the door, the dog shouldn't be running up. I have 2 dogs. Yeah, 1 retriever and 1 Maltese. But I think I only use the retriever. So one of the rules is no running up, right? That's a house rule too. And how well you enforce that house rule depends on how firm you are,
Okay.
right? So because what's the use of a law without having somebody to enforce it, right? So these are, you're talking about laws in your home. Another rule that I have with regards to the door is that when somebody or something is on the other side of the door, right, my dog shouldn't be barking or being too nosy. So if anything of that sort, that kind of behavior happens, I'm always there to correct it. I'm always there to ask them to move back.
Okay.
You understand? Yeah. Kitchen itself, when I'm preparing food, they shouldn't be inside unless I'm preparing their food. Which, yeah, for me, I'm just like a typical owner. I do like to reward my dogs or give them some food if I'm preparing their food, you know, just a sneak peek of what they're getting. Yeah, it's normal, right? As long as they're not jumping on me, as long as they're not in my way when I'm carrying stuff. But when I'm preparing human food, they shouldn't be inside because there's nothing for them. So I've practiced that rule so often that sometimes I do cook a little bit of scrambled eggs for my dog. So I cook the scrambled eggs, but the moment my wife pours the soy sauce in there, my dog walks away. So they do recognize this kind of patterns as well, if you're very consistent about your rule, right? Dining table, obviously, one of the rules might be you shouldn't be begging for food, right? And sometimes I do move them away from my area, my leg room area.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, these are all house rules. Again, what does it enforce? Structure. It makes your dog well behaved, right? Reward, yes, you can still reward. For example, if I send my dog away from my dining table, I don't just send to anywhere that I see, right? I create a space like this for my dog. So I said, nope, nothing for you here in the dining table, go to your bed. So they go. Yeah. For the demo, I'm not gonna show, I might show, but it's boring lah. People want to see the tricks and the commands, right? But these are some of the things that you should consider. And I use it for when I'm preparing their food. I use it for when I am intending to open a bag of treats, right? I want them to stay calm, so there's always a spot. This is a placed bed. This one is a placed bed. This one is just a normal bed. You can use either. Yeah. If you don't have such a device equipment at home yet, then probably you just decide which space should be your dog space. Some people even use the automat. I have no issue about that as long as your dog doesn't just jump up and down as if it's a playground lah. Yeah. So it is really about managing what are the do's and don'ts in your home first. Yeah. So when we talk about relieving boredom itself, right? It's you're active. So that's why you use tricks and commands. But these about house rules, these are the main element is setting it, having the intention of setting that rule, and then after that enforcing it. Yeah. Now the enforcement bit is a bit tricky, which is where sometimes the personal coaching from me comes in, because then I would have to look at whether the dogs are paying attention. And in the previous webinar series, right, I talked about the leash. So the leash is a very good device for you to actually guide your dog up onto the bed or whatever. I can show you if some of you have questions like, how do I get my dog to stay on the bed? Ask me later. I can show it to you. But right now, let's show you some of the things that I do during the CB period whereby my dog is bored. So the simplest thing that I do, right, is using food because I've got a Goldie. Yeah. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to flip the camera around. So I've hidden some treats here, right? Here as well. Here. Now I put it in simple places, right? But if your dog is good at finding stuff, then you can always put it in more challenging places. So, Boo, nope, not Elmo. Boo, come on, come on. So, yeah. Hi, everybody. This is Boo. So, Boo, this is my command for her. Sit. Yeah. So she's gonna go look for it. Yeah. Oh yes, that was a challenging one.
Wow.
Then I put that. Yes. So sometimes, right? She forgets the rule of no jumping on the sofa, and she might go up and take the treat over here. But now she's taking this. Look.
Wow.
Good. So this is fun, right? It doesn't create a well-behaved dog. It just gives the dog something to do. Yeah, now she has to figure out how to get up. Come on. Yes.
Wow.
In the past, I used to help. I used to tell her in which region she should search. But now she knows the activity. Come on, Bo, sick. Where are you going? Yeah. Nothing there. Don't make me show the rest of my house. Come on, Bo, one more. Yeah. So sometimes your dog is a bit lost, right? But still looking, but a bit lost, then you can always redirect a little bit more. So I'll tap over here. She knows.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. So that's one simple thing in which I can do. Now, the next thing that I do, I'm just going to flip the camera around, right? So, got treat over here, right? Sorry, it's a bit too big. So I'm just going to hide it in one of my hands, right? Hide in one of my hands. Boo, come here. Come. So command sometimes is a mix of house rules and a command. Yeah, there is an overlap. Because if she ignores my recall, right, she's still searching for the food anyway. Yeah. So I said come in a very nice way. Now my tone would be different because I need to enforce the command, which is a house rule too. Ideal, you cannot ignore me. Boo, come. Good girl. Sit. Can you guys see? Okay.
Yes.
So got two, right? Smell. Which one? No. Smell properly. Smell. Which one? So there.
Wow.
Good girl. Yeah. So sometimes, right? You guys play tug with your dog. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So retrieve. So the main thing about tugging. Sorry, I'm the one retrieving right now. Okay. Yeah. So the main thing about teaching your dog how to tug, right, is the key thing, right, is the out. So sometimes your dog get really engaged. Like this will really, you'll see you break a sweat. Yeah. So it's not only physical, there's mental too. Why? Because I incorporate commands into it. Out. Sit. Good. Down.
Wow.
Down. Good girl. And you can also make it into something else whereby you reinforce commands as well. Go. Come in. Place. Good girl. Walk with me. Walk. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Back. Yes. Good girl.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's always a reward involved as well. But this is almost immediate. House rules. For example, we are done. We're done, Boo. Go to your bed. Boo. Now. Yeah. So the association that I have with her, that I've created for her with regards to the bed, is that it's chill time. It's always for her to relax. Yeah. So I also play around with her state of mind. So I went from excitement to also something like a timeout.
Okay.
Yeah. Then for the last thing that I want her to do is, wait, let me just figure this out. Okay, Boo, come here. Take your toy. Put it back.
What?
Good girl. One more. Come here. Finish up. Take your toy. Put it back. Good girl. Good girl.
Wow.
Yeah. Good girl.
Seriously.
Yeah. So these are some of the things in which you can always do with your dog, right? But look, it didn't take me one day to teach all this. It took many tries. Yeah. The putting back one, yeah. I had to condition her to actually drop things first. And then after that, I had to teach her where to drop it, right? There was a lot of guidance. So for example, if you guys want to teach, one of the most useful things that I find in any home is the place, bed, command.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just going to, let me just move this a little bit. Yeah. Sorry, a bit impromptu, but I'm just going to do the place, bed, for example.
Okay.
So for people who are new, right, having a leash, guiding your dog onto the thing that you want your dog to stay on, and making sure that you use the leash to guide. That is the simplest rule that you can have for your dog.
Okay.
Yeah. What is this rule? Why is this rule so universally applied? Because it teaches her to wait. It teaches her to stay when I'm, for example, vacuuming the floor, right? And yes, I do some of the housework here too. So yeah, when I vacuum, I want my dogs to be here, and my small one will also be here.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
this is especially if you have a dog who doesn't know how to settle down. Ken, you have any? So far, I mean, yes.
Okay, by using the leash, right, will it confuse the dog? Like, does the dog see as like a punishment or something? Like,
No. Yeah. The problem that I have with what I don't like about the leash is that people are not using it enough. So therefore, ask yourself, every time you take out the leash, what does your dog do? Get excited, thinks that it's going out for a walk.
Yeah.
Right? So the leash represents what? Going out, excited, walk. And if your walk is conducted in a way whereby the dog is always excited and pulling and not following you, then this leash doesn't represent that. It only has not so good behaviors attached to it. So if you use this leash for other purposes, for example, getting the dog to go to a certain spot at home, right? Leading activities, or for example, having the dog to be attached to something so that doesn't have too much freedom, right? Or teaching new tricks using the leash as well. Then the leash is going to represent much more than just let's go for a walk. Yeah, it's going to represent, okay, let's work for mommy, let's work for daddy, right? Let's see what I can we can learn. Yeah, because there is an overlap with regards to house rules, for example. So you see some of the house rules that I have, like asking her to wait for her food while it's being prepared. I use the bait, which is a command. Yeah, and sometimes when you want your commands to also be part of the house rules, right? Like for example, playing the tug itself, I incorporate commands in there because I want the engagement to be with me. I don't want the dog to take the chew toy away and chew. Those are like chew toys, like bones. Yeah, I can let them enjoy on their own. But like tugging is a very good engagement activity. And you can incorporate commands, sit, down, drop it, heel. Yeah. So I can't cover all the house rules, but this is just to give you guys some inspiration as to what you can teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yes.
So in order for just a question. So in order for the leash to work, we must be able to let our dogs to see that the leash is actually something that, okay, we're gonna work on something, and not so much of like, it's for kai kai or it's for going out?
I do have different ways of giving the association. So like for example, if I want to work with her, right?
Yeah.
I'll ask her, come here, boo, come here. I'll get her to sit before the leash goes on. A lot of people, they don't settle the dog down, then they put the leash on. So they put the leash on when the dog is excited. They don't put the leash on when the dog is calm. So that's why the dog rushes. Yeah. So I settle her down, then I put the leash on. So, but for my walks, right? Just give me one moment. Stay. For my walks, if you want to make it fun, you can still use the words gai gai, right? So, boo, gai gai, go take your leash. Go take your leash. Hurry. Go. Okay, she's gonna take a while. Yeah,
You're gonna cheat on her feeling because you're not going gai gai.
Bring. So yeah, getting excited too, right? So excited for the command because I want her to work with a good attitude. But if we are, for example, if we are going out for a walk, right? Tail still wagging, we gotta settle her. Sit.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Go. Right, then, yeah. So my leash, every time it goes on, the dog is calm.
Okay.
And if you have this state of mind ingrained in your dog is ready to do anything, whether it's going out for a walk or going out, going to do work at home. Yeah. So, yes. Wow, I'm a bit perspiring already.
We have a lot of questions though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions. I think we will wait for Kai to come up.
Yeah,
they're dying to ask
ready
you
to
for
move
questions.
on to the Q&A? Okay. Okay, let's do it. But before we actually go to Q&A, maybe we can actually have Leslie to pull out the second poll question first for you.
Can.
After we'll go through some questions and then we'll revisit the poll results.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the next poll then? Wow, we have a lot of questions. Okay. House rules.
So this one we talk about house rules. How many have your dogs mastered?
Handful.
This one I answer.
Okay, let's go through the first question for the Q&A first while we wait for the poll results. While we wait for all the attendees to put in their answers. First question is from Space. Hi, Space. His question, his or her question first is how to be the alpha.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a
and Ethan, if you have any follow up, like if you want to more info, you let me know so that we can actually get him or her to be on live as well.
Okay, can. Firstly, I'd like to rephrase the question because asking whether how to be an alpha, right, is a very old school way of thinking. Old school in a way whereby if you think that there's out of your dog's life there's only one alpha, then you're having a very big misunderstanding. Alpha is just a term to describe somebody or something that is more dominant. So it's used in the context of a relationship. It shouldn't be used in the context of a position. It shouldn't be like, oh, Donald Trump is the alpha, right? He's a bad alpha if that's the case, right? But you're talking about a relationship. So assess based on dog to dog, for example. If a dog to dog relationship, the one loves to wrestle on top and the other one goes under, then obviously you're looking at a dog who likes to display more dominant behaviors. I wouldn't go ahead and label that dog as alpha because if he meets another dog who is a little bit more dominant than him, he's no longer the alpha. You understand?
Okay.
So I think a better way of asking that question would be, how do I be a leader for my dog, right? Leader just means I always give the scenario of like a driving situation. For example, you and your dog, you are the car. You guys function as a car, right? there's only one driver and there's only one passenger. So ask yourself, right? Driver is what? Has to lead, right? Because you're driving, right? The passenger follow. Yeah, so there are only two positions if you're talking about in a pack scenario situation. In a natural pack or wolf packs, right? The parents or the strongest males and females make up the alpha, or they take up the leadership position of the leadership position roles, the leadership roles. Yeah, okay. So and they can take charge in many different ways. For example, the males, the strong leader males would be in charge of what? Territory and security. They wouldn't be in charge of food. Yeah, they'll probably need another group, right, that would be more inquisitive to actually seek out for food. So you're talking about different leadership positions as well. When we bring the dog into our homes, right, it is only responsible for us to become the leaders in their lives, because we're bringing a dog from a very natural state into a very urban human state, right? So therefore, you have to teach them to listen to you, to follow you. Yeah. So right. So when you drive a car, when you're the driver, you don't look at your passenger and ask for directions. I mean, yes, they can guide you to tell you where to go, but ultimately you're the one driving, you're the one controlling the speed. Yeah. Likewise, when you go out for a walk, right, you should more or less decide which route to take. Yeah. Are there times in which I let my dog take over? Yes. Yeah. When my dog is displaying calm, relaxing behaviors, yes, I do let them have a little bit more leeway, a little bit more freedom for them to go into explore states. Yeah, but most of the time, if you are asking the question because you want your dog to be more well-behaved, then you should start nurturing and focusing on follower, calm states, right? If you want to have a dog who is happy-go-lucky, then you can start to focus a little bit on excitable states. But the truth is, calm follower has to be nurtured, whereas excitement, play states, explore states, you can trigger anytime. Yeah, so that's the difference. That's why you have to take time to nurture the follower state of mind. Yeah, so listening to you and not allowing them to ignore you. If they ignore you, either take the effort to physically guide them, like if they don't want to sit, guide them, right? If they want to run away, try to have a leash that's attached that you can always reel back, right? Teach them to follow you, or at least give them the illusion that that they are following you by running away and then chasing you. That is also useful. Yeah. So I hope you understand the difference between alpha, because alpha is very old school, and it's very limited way of describing something. Yeah.
Okay.
Hope that answers the question.
Okay.
I think Space follow up with two other questions, but I'm not sure whether they are totally related.
Okay. We'll try. Yeah, we'll try to answer a variety. We'll go for a variety of questions.
Okay. Perhaps I'll just read it out first. We also ask, should you praise if the dog does a command but does it in a condescending way?
What do you mean? Like condescending, like do for the sake of doing.
Do you want him or her to come live?
Condescending way, like, okay, if the dog is not okay, I think what he or she might have meant is that the dog is not happy about doing that command. So you have to ask yourself, number one, is my dog motivated to do the command? If the dog is not motivated, then you should not be focusing on how you're praising. You should be focusing on the process. How do you hype up the dog to actually start working for you? Time of the day does play a part too. I don't work with Boo in the afternoon. I sometimes work with her in the mornings and in the evenings, or sometimes after food, because that's when they go into a little bit more playful, happy-go-lucky state of mind. Yeah. So that's motivation. Or either that you could be feeding the wrong energy. Like, for example, if you wanted your dog to like sit, right? either or you want your dog to retrieve, like take it. Yeah, you might not be injecting enough energy into it, so your dog's also like, okay, doing it for the sake of doing. Or you're not challenging your dog enough. For example, sit is too simple for your dog, so your dog's just gonna sit. Every time after the sit, I get a treat. Yeah, it's too simple. They get bored. Yeah, so try with a sit, right? Maybe challenge by, okay, sit and stay. Good. And then throw the treat over, right? Or teach your dog to catch the treat. Okay. So many variations. Yeah. If your dog is not motivated, then maybe you gotta look into that. The more I talk about it, I think she's saying that the dog is a bit pissed off that the dog wants, the owner wants her to do wants the dog to do something. Yeah. So it might be motivation. If you're using food, it could be a matter. It could be a subject matter to the food is not yummy enough, it's not smelly enough. Like they really love something that is strong smelling. Yeah. So a lot of factors.
Another question by Annette. She likes your house rule about keeping dogs out of the kitchen. How would you help your dog differentiate between preparing your own food versus preparing their food? Because it may be confusing to them if you know, they are allowed in one moment but not allowed the next moment.
Okay, so this one you have to see whether your dog understands or has the ability to differentiate. So I started off with a general rule, right? That the dog should never be in the kitchen. Yeah, always work on the general rule first. For example, another rule is no jumping on furniture, right? That should be a general rule first. Then you create exceptions. Yeah, so my exception was one of the days I didn't enforce the rule of no coming into the kitchen. And she being a golden retriever, she would be curious. And I allowed it. And in fact, I rewarded it. Yeah, but I only rewarded it for that one time. Yeah. To be honest, it's not all the time that I prepare food for like her daily meals. She's not allowed in the kitchen. But if I'm cutting up a fruit that she can eat, yeah, that one I allow her in the kitchen. So my general rule still stays. The exceptions I slowly introduce. And you have to make sure that your exception is not overdone to the extent whereby it starts to take over the general rule. That's the crucial bit. So that's why my dog is able to differentiate. Yeah. And sometimes your dog doesn't differentiate, then stick with the general rule first, because general rules is still better than having no rules at all. Yeah. Like my small one, yeah, sometimes if he feels like it, he might want to jump up onto the sofa. So because I can't allow only Boo to jump up and him no, then it's the same rule for everybody. Everybody follows the general rule unless you're good at the exceptions. Then I allow. When I call you up onto the sofa, you come up. Yeah. So a lot of dogs, they think that because, or rather a lot of owners think that because the dog has already mastered one rule for a certain period of time, then they start to allow a lot of exceptions. Yeah, sorry, here. Yeah, allow a lot of exceptions. Yeah. But then they might have done it too quickly or too soon, that the dog has not mastered. That's why the question was mastered. Yeah, almost 100% fluency. Yeah, all those tricks that I show you also, they've mastered. Yeah, it's not, I won't be showing you something. There are a lot of things that are work in progress too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to question from Jasmine. She actually had this question before the webinar itself. Apparently the issue is that her dog always beat anyone who wants to leave the house. So how does she address this? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So general rule in that case would be no mouthing on humans. Right? So my first question, if this was a consultation, my first question would be, have you ever allowed your dog to actually mouth your hands or play with your hands or even, start to lick your hands? Because these kind of activities focus with the mouth on human skin, right? You can already start sending a message that, yes, my dog, you can put your mouth on humans. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's number one. If you have that, if you have that that kind of interaction, don't allow it. Now, if you think about it, no, my dog doesn't really put the mouths on other people as much. Yeah. Then you might be looking at a trigger. So if you've identified that people leaving the house is a trigger, ask yourself why. For me, I look at energy. From an energy's perspective, how does it look like when people leave, right? They're all sitting nicely, and then after that, it's quiet. Okay lah, hey, let's go, huh? Yeah. Thank you for coming, thank you for coming. Look at the energy level rise, right? So that can be a trigger for your dog too. So your dog's like, it can be sleeping, right? Relaxing, getting very used to these humans already, and then suddenly, oh, something's happening. And then they're like, what's happening? Yeah, so then they're gonna like try to control. You humans, get back to your original state, which is calm. Yeah. So that's why sometimes that could be a trigger. People leaving the house, suddenly getting up and moving, right? It's almost as if there's a prey that was hiding and then suddenly wanting to run away. So your dog might go. Yeah. So look for these kind of triggers. So my advice is, if that happens, try to catch your dog early. If you can't catch early, then I'm afraid you cannot prevent the behavior. You have to move into intervening. And intervening sometimes will require you, taking charge, grabbing the collar of your dog, and then making your dog still, sit, stay, no more biting, right? But of course, if your dog is ruff, 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 right, you can't use this tone. You gotta just use a firmer tone. Hey, enough. Yeah, you gotta balance it. Yeah. If you know that 100% your dog is going to go for the human when he leaves, then before you tell your guests, hey, before y'all go, let me know. I prepare my dog. I'm gonna put him on a leash so that I can correct. Yeah, so I put my dog on a leash. Then, okay, let's go. And then everybody goes, gets up, and then your dog's gonna get excited, might want to go for a nip or something. You have at least now the ability to control. Before you didn't. Yeah, so that amount of control that you have, even if it's just a little tug, right? It's also to send a message that, nope, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, so you actually effectively have practiced prevention, as well as, because he's still connected to the leash, you can also practice intervention. Who knows, he might go for the human, and then he suddenly feels the tug from the leash because he forgot about the leash. And that's also a self-correcting technique.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So learning the pattern, good that you have identified, what is the behavior that triggers the nipping. Then try to circuit break it before. Yes. You want to be able to prevent. Yeah. You want to be one step ahead, because only then you can you can block the dog from practicing the behavior when the mind is thinking about it. The key to behavioral correction is to be one step ahead of your dog, so that you correct it when he's thinking about it, not when his body is already performing the activity that you don't want. A lot of people focus on correcting dogs by seeing the dog perform the bad behavior when the dog has already thought of killing the animal, right? And then biting the animal, and then they go and correct. But what if you're able to catch the time in which the dog is thinking about it before he wants to go for the human or the dog? Then you, hey, enough. Then the dog is like, oh, okay, I'm not supposed to have that thought. Oh, okay. Yeah, then you go sit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you short circuit that chain of thought. A lot of our dogs, they perform behaviors, especially bad ones, in behavioral loops. Yeah, they'll do it over and over and over again, as long as the conditions are right. Trigger, energy. Yeah, so you have to think about it, see how you can block. Yeah.
Okay.
As simple as that. Yeah.
The next two questions that we'll go for is actually referring to what Boo actually was doing earlier on.
Yeah.
So Vincent actually asked, can we have some tips on how to train our dogs to pick up his own toys? And Doreen actually asked, how do you train Boo to fetch her own leash?
So you have to look at the breed as well. So Boo, being a golden retriever, does have a good knowledge of picking things up using the mouth, right? Which is also why it can go both ways. If I didn't teach her stuff to do with her mouth, then she'll be picking up leaves, she'll be picking up junk while on our walks. Yeah, but because I prevent that, right, I channel it to retrieving toys first. So first, I teach her to retrieve toys. Yeah. Secondly, I started placing foreign things for her to hold. So the leash, she didn't like the leash in her mouth at first, but I put it on her mouth. 1 second, 2 seconds, she spat it out. So the next time I put it in, 1 second later, she was about to spit it out. I give her a treat. So she gets used to the fact, oh, okay, me holding this for the human gets me a treat. So she'll hold it, she gives a treat. Okay. They hold it, give a treat, right? Then I started to put the leash on things, asking her to grab it. Yeah, grab. Then once she grabs, I don't treat her, but I ask her to come. Yeah, so I made use of the recall, so it became a process. Grab the leash, give it to me. And for me, I no longer use the treat after that, because for me, for Boo, the reward was, okay, let's go for a walk. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, Boo, from young, I've always challenged her to problem solve, to think. Yeah, and because she follows me on my consultation in the past, whether it's with aggressive dogs or insecure dogs, she's very used to being a work-driven dog. Yeah, but it's not too late for, I mean, some of our viewers who are looking to alleviate some boredom in your dog. Start with simple things. The fact that you're asking your dog to do something and your dog successfully does it for you, it means that your dog is already working for you. And that's what they love to do. Just that right now, they don't know which are the things that you love the most. Yeah. Do you like me chewing your shoe, or do you like me chewing the toys more? Yeah, because with the shoe, when I chew it, you become much more attentive to me. And you become much more animated. So maybe I'll chew the shoe more. Yeah, so that's why the structure needs to be clear. Yeah, and if you want a well-behaved dog, focus on house rules more than you do commands. Yeah. Okay.
Probably, I think the next question would probably would be related to what you are what you've just answered as well, because Mary, who actually asked that her dog always bite on the leash when I tell her we are going out at the door.
Yeah. So when I hear something like that, right, my first thinking is that the door area is a place of excitement. Your dog has associated that place as excitement, because your dog is not biting the leash for no reason. It's not like the leash is really yummy and then they bite it. No, your dog is in an excited state, or maybe in a reluctant state to move. That's why he might be biting. If your dog is biting as a protest, then yeah, you might need to work one-on-one with maybe also a trainer, right? To at least teach your dog how to behave with leash pressure. Yeah, but most of the time, when people come to me with this kind of complaints, the dog is biting because the dog is too excited. So simple tip, don't leash your dog at the door. Take the leash from the door area, whereby you have it all the time. Make your dog follow you. Leash away from the door, right? And remember, my tip was to send your dog into a calm state before you put on the leash. Yeah. So leash away from the door, say, and then you put on the leash. After you put on the leash, if your dog starts to exit the calm state, goes into excitement state, that's when he's gonna bite. So your job is, when you put the leash on and your dog goes into not so calm anymore, you have to use the leash to correct, or at least hold the collar of your dog. Limit the movement of the head. Once you control, why am I such a big fan of limiting movement of or grabbing the collar of the dog? it's simply because once you have control over the head, right, you control the rest of the body. Yeah. To me, it's a balance also. More control for the human, right, means that there's less freedom for the dog to misbehave. More freedom for the dog means less control for the human. Yeah, I'm trying to make it such that y'all can see it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Next question would be from Jason. If the dog has several carers, is it possible that a dog can be untrained by the other carers who don't enforce certain rules? If so, how do you prevent this situation? Train other carers?
Yeah. Jason, you indirectly pointing out one of your household members. Must be. Okay, but anyway, yes, it's very true. Because this is how dogs view all of us, right? So when a dog builds a relationship with you, you can be pretty sure that it is kind of special already. So special that they can start to associate certain activities, certain rules, certain fun things to do with this person, certain things that I cannot do with this person. So if you grow up, or if you raise your dog being a strict person with a lot of discipline, right, and also fun going, then you're going to have a balanced relationship. But if you raise your dog up only giving a lot of affection and not focusing too much on the discipline, then the dog will not practice as good of a structure with that person who never focus on discipline. So which means that relationship that your dog forms is individualized. It consists of, okay, with this person I can do this or not, and then that person I can do certain things but not. And then when you have them living in the same household, you tend to create confusion for the dog, because the dog's going to think, like, for example, if mommy doesn't allow me to do this but daddy allows me to do this, so when the two of them are at home, I can pick who I can listen to. So I'll still do some of the things that mommy doesn't want me to do, but I'll do some of the things that daddy allows me to do. Yeah. Likewise, it's the same. It's like people who bring their kids to stay with in-laws or the grandparents, right? Grandma or grandpa is going to allow certain things in which the parents are not happy about. And sometimes you bring the kid back home, the kid's going to question, hey, how come at grandpa's house I used to be able to just turn on the TV whenever I want, but at home I can't? So that kind of disagreement, that kind of conflict already happens in human minds. What about our dogs who spend 24/7 observing our patterns, learning our body language, and just simply observing what can and cannot be done in front of us? Yeah.
Cool.
Hello, Taco. What's she
Hello.
doing? Hello. So, Kimmy, you have any questions?
I always feel that, how do you get the dog to unlearn some bad habits? Because from all the questions that was mentioned previously, I think you make it a very good point. We always have to find the trigger point. Like, for example, Taco, he gets extremely, I wouldn't say excited, but maybe anxious whenever I'm climbing something. Like, whenever I need to pick up something using a ladder or stepping out the chairs, he gets very anxious and he starts to trying to bite my legs or something.
Let's just focus on that one scenario that you're talking about, climbing up something. What is Taco doing when you're climbing up?
He can be perfectly chill and calm in the beanbag. And the moment he saw me trying to go up a steps, he was just frantically coming over and then trying to bite me.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Calm down.
Yeah, I did some research. It seems like the dog are worried that you will fall or something. I don't know.
Could be. That's the ideal understanding that we have with the dog. But sometimes it's just like, why are you going somewhere without me?
But I can go anywhere. He's okay. But the moment he feels that I'm elevated, then he go crazy.
Yeah, because it feels different. I'm sure you don't spend your day climbing your house Yeah. So it's a very different scenario that your dog suddenly sees, hey, what's happening? What's going on over there? Right?
Okay.
So your dog is a little confused.
Okay.
But the thing is, I asked you the question, what is he doing? Because I'm sure when you climb, right, he had the freedom to react whichever way that he or she wanted. Sorry, Taco is a girl or a boy?
It's a boy.
Boy.
Although he looks,
Sorry.
he looks very cute. It's okay.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
so he allows his mind to kind of be imaginative, worried, right, suspicious, whatever state of mind. But the thing is, he's allowed to let that mental state of mind carry on to physical behaviors, which is like jumping and all that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So what is the key over here? The key to preventing that is to find a way that you can create structure, right? Because like again, he's allowed to move so much, his mind is allowed to also just run off.
Okay.
Yeah. But what if we provide enough structure? Like for example, you don't put him away when you're climbing. You put him right beside you. You understand? Put him right beside you. Maybe you can put a bed on there and make him practice the command of staying there.
Okay.
Then you take one step up. When you take one step up, look at him. If he starts getting frantic straight away, no, stay.
Okay.
So use your command to help him, to guide him, place a limit as to how worried he should get. That's one, right? So then after you start climbing, stay, no. But if it's so intense for Taco that there's no way he's gonna listen to you when you ask him to stay and then you start climbing, then you might have to use again the leash. Yeah, at least the leash limits the amount of space he can run, right? So like for example, nervous people, they pace, right? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Yeah, why? If you see your friend doing this, right, what are you gonna do? You're like, hey, wait. Yeah, cool down, right? First thing for you to do is calm the human down. Don't pace. Wait. Yeah, let's think about it. Then you can engage and talk to the human. Because you can't talk to a human that's doing this. He can hear you, but he is not focusing. So you gotta stop, right? Like for example, if I were to deliver this webinar doing this, yeah, Kai would be like, hey, stay still, stay. Right? So it's the same. Yeah.
Okay.
For a dog, because he's allowed to wander so much. So with the leash, we are trying to use body to influence the mind. Reverse. Not so much of mind influencing the body. So body, so he's gonna try to pace, he's not allowed to. If the shorter the leash, the better. But I'm not saying that the long-term solution is to leash your dog all the time. Okay, not that.
No.
Right? It's just for that particular scenario. You leash him, right? You climb up, you realize that if he starts pacing, see whether you can either tuck and make him settle down, or you can have the patience, you wait until he settles down. The moment he settles down, why don't you prepare a treat and you also give it to him? Or you praise him from up there. Good boy. Yeah, good boy. Then repeat. The key to long-term success is repeat.
Okay.
Yeah. The more you repeat, the more he gets used to it. We are using counter conditioning here. We're giving a new meaning to Taco when mommy is climbing up the stairs. Right now, there's only one meaning. What's happening? Yeah, I gotta get mommy down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, frantic. Yeah. So
then
the key, just to maintain him in calm. Yeah.
Okay.
There's quite a few more questions from the crowd. Do you think we have time to answer two more? Maybe.
I have. Yeah. I'm going for a training session.
Okay.
Soon,
maybe
but yes.
We take
quick one.
These questions from parents to be lah. So we have variety. Okay. Yao Kwok actually is planning to adopt a dog which is 5 years old. Any suggestions what to do on introduction to a new home? That's the first one. Second, similar, is by Karina. She is bringing a new 2-month-old Shiba Inu home next week. What are the basic house rules to teach him? Apart from potty and crate training, any tips to set the disciplinary expectations with the puppy from the start?
Well, the second question she already answered a bit. Because she focused on potty training, that is number one on the list for any animal that is going into your home. But besides that, right, similar to the one who's adopting the 5-year-old, I would say start to create that bond of the dog following you. And you can do it as simply as the walk itself. Yeah. I can't really give you that specific until I see the dog and I know which are the dog's weaknesses. Because I'm a trainer that likes to work on dogs' weaknesses. There's no point teaching humans to keep nurturing things that your dog is good at. Like, for example, an excitable dog. I don't tell the client to, hey, next time continue praising. Every time excited, praise. No. Yeah. If I see an excited dog, right, I'll tell the client, your dog needs to learn how to calm down. Your dog needs to practice patience, impulse control, right? Or if I see a low energy dog, then I'll tell the client, you need to learn how to motivate that dog. You need to learn how to excite that dog. Yeah. So one thing, focus on, especially when you rescue a dog, right? Focus on what that dog is not so good at and practice challenging him or her out of their comfort zone. That's why rescue dogs are not for beginners. Yeah, they do require people with not only a good, gentle heart, but also a strong heart. Because you have to, despite whatever background, however bad it was or where they came from, you have to focus on what the dog is not good at and teach. Yeah, so that's one. But the main thing is, if you're asking like the first activity that they should be doing is teach them to be, besides potty training, right? Teach them to learn to walk nicely with you. Because walking is the most primal activity for any dog. Yeah, and there's so many things that you can practice with regards to walking in the areas of discipline, right? Firstly, you're teaching a dog to pay attention to you. Number one. Number two, follow you. Number three, when they're turning, they're either following you or they are giving way to you and observing where you're going. Yeah. So that you already start to form the relationship on the first impression that, hey, I'm here to guide you, right? It would be good for the puppy, the one who's adopting a puppy, to include treats every time the dog is following you. Yes, so that you can reinforce already. For the older one, you have to see whether food motivated or not. Not food motivated, then forget about using food because that's just a waste of your time, right? You need to work more on yourself providing enough guidance. Yeah. So then once you have them nicely on a walk, so like first day, right, I will think, you collect the dog, right? Try to see whether the dog is good on a leash. If it's good on a leash, then take for a walk first. Then come back into your home. I mean, some people, the dogs don't have the luxury of going for a walk. So the dog is quite excited because also not allowed to go out because not vaccinated. Yeah, so yes, my take is just have the dog calmer first. Even if you're walking around in your home itself, it's good. Calm the dog down. Then you introduce room by room. My tip for the one who's adopting the young dog, right? Don't be so fast to introduce the whole house to your dog. Start with one place at a time, right? Once the dog has mastered the rule in one specific place, then you can start expanding the access. Yeah, a lot of people make the mistake. The dog is cute. All they want is the dog to be close to them and have a lot of freedom. Then when like 9 months later, they have a dog that is always attached to them and does not know what can and cannot be done in certain areas of the house. Yeah, so do it progressively and with structure. Yeah, I'm big on structure because once again, I don't need to teach you how to give freedom and I don't need to teach you how to give love to your dog. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for the very extensive answers and Q&A section, Ethan. I think you've been very more than gracious to go beyond the
Yeah,
time.
I mean, if they're,
Yeah, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
we cannot actually go through all the Q&A, so we are really sorry about that. But before
What time is it now?
It's 3:15.
Yeah, correct.
You want to
Okay.
you want to pick
You
up
want to push
one?
it? You do one more?
Yeah, can.
I mean, it's my reward for you guys taking time off this Sunday.
Cool.
Yes.
How to train a non-food motivated fur baby?
Wow. There's always a reason why the dog might not be food motivated. Firstly, look at the quality of the food that you're giving first. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to understand that dogs, they don't just gravitate. I mean, non-greedy dogs, they don't just gravitate to simple things like plain chicken breast. Yeah, that can't do it. On TV, when we work with Cesar and all that, sometimes we request for organs to be available. Not like, cut out the organs and give, but like cooked liver or freeze-dried, something that is a little bit more strong in the smell. Yeah, you can always contact food companies. I'm sure Jason will want to put in his name for it. Yeah. So I do like to use this kind of treats, number one. If even then you change the quality of the food and the dog is still not doing the work for the food, right? Then you look at medically, is that dog not hungry, or is that dog not given the chance? Is the dog picky? Yeah, if you're dealing with a picky case, then I'm saying that your dog is too spoiled, has not felt hunger. There's the instinctive drive of looking for food has not kicked in. So you might want to let it fast, skip one meal or two before you reintroduce the yummy food again. Then it's a way of letting the dog appreciate that the human is there to give you food, not that the food is there 24/7 as and when you like it. And it gives a chance for them to feel discomfort in terms of hunger and then relieve that discomfort in terms of getting food from you. Yeah, so that's it medically, the dog. So if you don't have a dog that is not picky, if you have a dog that's not picky, you have a dog that is eating premium quality food, then you might be banging on the wrong door, right? There are 1,001 ways to train a dog. Sometimes you can just switch from using food to toys. I don't think you own a dog that is totally disinterested in life. So there is something. So sometimes the fastest way is to see whether the dog likes toys. If you find that the dog is not interested in toys, maybe you're not moving the toy right. Right? With terriers, I like to move the toys very fast because they like to chase. Yeah. With like beagles and stuff, they like things in which they can dig into, that has sand. Then take, like, for example, another dog's toy that already has a lot of scent from another dog. Yeah. Oh. Because if you realize, some of the dogs, they like other dogs' toys. Stolen toys are always nicer. Yeah. Okay. If my dog doesn't want to eat sometimes, right? I mean, I don't have that problem, but if the dog doesn't want to eat, you feed the other dog. If you have multiple dogs in the household, you feed another dog. Make the dog be curious. Like, hey, what's that? Yeah. So tap into that. Or sometimes it could just be your energy. You might not know it, but your attention for your dog is one of the most valuable rewards that you can have, right? But the thing is, with us humans, we give too much of our attention and too much of our affection, that the value of our affection drops. The dog starts to think, anytime I can get, if he's going to meet his friends in the dog park, he's going to tell the other dogs, my owner gives me so much attention, I've trained him to pet me whenever I want. Yeah. So that's the mentality that it might have. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you pet your dog too much, you cuddle your dog too much, then your dog might not appreciate the true value of your attention until you're gone. Yeah, which is why separation anxiety happens, right? But yes, your attention, sometimes even just looking at your dog, doing this to your dog, hi, is a reward because your dog's like, hey, engaged. Yeah. So if your dog, there's nothing wrong with your dog if your dog is not food motivated. Yeah, just remember that first. And look for other ways to motivate your dog. Sometimes the dog might just be happy for you to just take it out for a walk. That itself, makes it move. It's a bit more limp, right? Then he's more ready to do stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So bonding with a dog doesn't just mean giving a dog affection and food. It means it's building a relationship. And there are so many, there are 5 love languages in this world, right? With humans. I'm sure there are more. Yeah. But we're just trying to categorize it. So me as a trainer, I don't categorize your dog is a food motivated dog, so use food. No. Yeah. Your dog's good at food, so why not you use toys? Yeah. Always, you want to create that well-balanced, that all-roundedness as much as possible. Yeah, I hope that really helps. I mean, at least help you to think of other approaches. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ethan, for taking that last question. Very kind of you.
No
but before we
problem.
wrap up, shall we actually pull up quickly the second?
Oh yes. Yeah. Now I want to see how many.
Yes.
A handful. Wow. So much.
Yeah.
Wow. Who's the one that says one? He basically
Speak
speaks
English.
English and understands everything I say. Even my dog doesn't do that. Yeah, I wish. She's close, but no. Yeah. YOLO, we have no rules. There are few these people, the 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Cool.
it gives you an insight, right? Generally, people are practicing more commands, tricks than house rules. By right, there are so many house rules that you shouldn't be able to count them, right? Because house rules is just a matter of, it's like how you want to be treated in a relationship. Same. This is a relationship with your dog. Just because it's furry and cute doesn't mean that you can't have rules, right? It doesn't make sense if you are attached with a handsome guy and there are no rules to a relationship. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Okay.
So with a dog too, if furry and cute, yes, but you want to make your life good, you want to make his life less confusing, then you should set some rules. Focus on the rules. Simple rules. You don't need to go complicated. Like, okay, you can only bark at, strangers. You cannot bark at my relatives. You cannot bark at my best friend. You cannot bark at my sister. You cannot bark. Yeah. Simple rules. No barking means no barking. But you can teach your dog to speak like that. Those are exceptions. Yeah. House rules are general rules.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. All right,
I can go on
thank you
and
so
on,
much for the
yes.
There will be the finale session, the finale of our webinar. It will be on
you
a
see which questions might not have been answered, then you see if they are relevant for the next session too.
Yes.
Or people they are desperate for their answers, for their questions.
Very quickly, everyone, just want to remind you all that the finale of the webinar will be on 2nd of August. Yeah, there's a Sunday as well, same timing, 2 p.m. So keep a lookout on the registration, which will be out soon via our social media, so that if you have any questions that didn't get answered today, we are so sorry, but we can actually revisit those questions. If you're there at the webinar.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, thank you so much, Ethan, for the wonderful session, and thank you all of you to being here this afternoon. Yes.
Thank you.
Before you all leave, it would mean so much to us if you can actually just spend a minute to leave us a feedback, right? By scanning the QR code on the screen that I just shared, so that we know how to improve the quality of our webinars, lah. All right. So thank you so much. We will see you again in 2 Sundays time, same timing. All right.
Thank you, Ethan.
Thanks, Ethan.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.